Shipping is a highly competitive business. The successful companies give a high standard of service to their customers and keep their costs down to a minimum. In the container business, both these functions depend on the highest standards of technical competence and cleanliness applied to the container operation. This is most important in the case of temperature-controlled containers. This video is aimed at those on shore and on board ship to help with good container operation. The cargoes shipped in temperature-controlled containers tend to be of a very high value, and the shipment may be sent thousands of miles round the world, taking a month or more to complete its journey. Many things can happen which may endanger the integrity of the cargo, even in the best regulated circumstances. Any insurance claims arising from the damage or loss of cargo can be very high, adding substantially to the costs of the container operator. For this reason, everything possible must be done to avoid damaging our customers' cargo. Upon return from a successful journey, the container is inspected and cleaned thoroughly to remove odors, dirt, and other contaminating agents before it's returned into service. Before a temperature-controlled container is ready for its next assignment, its refrigeration and temperature control systems must be checked in accordance with a company pre-trip inspection or PTI checklist. Typically, a series of temperature checks follow. The container is first cooled to 0 degrees Celsius to compare the set temperature with the delivery air. Then the container is set to frozen mode of -20 degrees Celsius and the reading checked again. After that, the defrost cycle is tested. The temperature is then reset to +10 degrees Celsius to test all heating functions. The pre-trip inspection completed, the temperature is set to +5 degrees Celsius and the Reefer history book is filled in. The expired PTI approval sticker is removed and a new one is placed on the container in a clearly visible position. The Reefer is now ready for its next trip, provided its Container Safety Convention certificate is in order. As generator sets, or gensets, return from a trip, they are topped up and tested in accordance with the PTI checklist, including the belt drive, the cooling system, lubrication, and fuel level. Then a test run is made and all the safety checks requested by the PTI list carried out. The tests completed, the old PTI approval sticker is removed and a new one is placed in a clearly visible position. The genset is also ready for its next tour of duty.
Good afternoon, customer service.
When a call is received from a shipper at the booking office, there are a number of vital pieces of information which must be obtained to ensure that the cargo will receive the attention it demands in line with the shipper's specification.
Okay, may I take your company name, please?
This will include the size and type of container, commodity, date at shipper, date of shipment, date at consignee, and a series of instructions regarding fresh air supply, set temperature, provision of genset, pre-cooling, and so on, depending on company policy.
May I ask what the carrying temperature is?
All container set temperatures must be specified in degrees Celsius, except in the United States of America, where they use Fahrenheit. It must be checked whether the value given is plus or minus, and this must be indicated in full text.
Right, just to confirm those details then, sir. That's one.
Some companies check the information back on the telephone and request a written confirmation of it.
Due to load on Wednesday, the
Provided the container operator strictly adheres to the conditions the shipper specified for his cargo in a verifiable way, the responsibility for the cargo is fulfilled.
Robertson's Coal Store, Westside Industrial Estate, Brooklands Road, Reading in Berkshire. That's with a running gen set, and the carrying temperature would be minus 20 degrees Celsius.
Then, space allocation on board ship and at the export stack is dealt with, and the availability of the required equipment is checked prior to acceptance of the shipment. Some companies do this at the booking stage, others have different procedures. Ideally, the shipping instructions and conditions are confirmed in writing by the shipper, and the receipt of these instructions is confirmed by the shipping company. This process may appear cumbersome, but it's most important to keep to it without fail. Everything that is going to happen to the container during the voyage will be done according to the instructions recorded at this time. The success of the journey depends on these documents and the way the instructions are carried out by the operators at each stage of the journey. Once the booking has been taken and verified and all instructions have been confirmed in writing, the booking is accepted by the shipping company. The haulage company is advised in writing so that the specified container in the right condition can be transported to the shipper. In the meantime, a pre-advice note is sent to the export terminal, who will include the new order in their terminal planning.
Hello, it's Ned Lloyd. How are you? Fine, thanks.
The role of the documentation throughout the assignment is critical to ensure a successful journey. The order arrives at the container depot, and the release instructions and the order for the genset are processed. The genset is fitted as instructed. The required temperature is set, and the test run of the container and genset is carried out as specified by the shipper. A new chart is filled in with all the necessary details to ensure correct temperature control. If appropriate, the mechanism is fully wound up before the chart is fitted. Battery-operated systems are dealt with at PTI. The container is now ready for dispatch. Only if the shipper has specifically requested pre-cooling will the genset and the container be switched on prior to stuffing. At the terminal gate, a further check by both the trucker and the terminal inspector is carried out. An interchange receipt is filled in and countersigned by both. All these meticulous checks and documentation procedures are necessary to allow verification of condition of cargo at each stage of a container's journey. At the shipper's premises, the container's condition is inspected inside and out, and the container is made ready for stuffing. During stuffing, it is very important to leave a gap between the roof of the container and the cargo, and to ensure adequate cold air circulation in all parts of the container. The maximum loading level is shown inside the container by means of a red line. As soon as possible after stuffing, the container is closed and sealed by a company bottle seal, which should be click-locked. Sometimes a veterinary seal will also be fixed. Then the set temperature is visually checked by the shipper.
All right.
The gen set is restarted and the container's equipment switched on. The container is then taken to the container terminal. Before the container arrives at the terminal gate, the genset is removed. At the terminal gate, the visual damage check is made again, and the equipment interchange receipt, or EIR, is filled in, including seal numbers. The EIR is undersigned by both the trucker and the terminal inspector. The container is taken to the export reefer stack to await shipment. The container is immediately connected to the terminal supply and the machinery switched on. Temperature setting and actual temperature is then checked again and checked against the temperature noted on the pre-advice. During its stay at the terminal, the container temperature is checked at least twice a day and the temperatures are recorded in the terminal reefer list. The agent must be warned if the temperature setting is not according to the pre-delivery advice or if the actual temperature reading is not according to setting. This applies equally at the loading as well as the discharge port. Prior to loading on the vessel, some companies remove the reefer's temperature chart. A new one is filled in and fitted into the container. If appropriate, the clockwork is wound again. The used chart is kept at the agent's office. Other companies clip a new chart over the used one. At this stage, the ship receives a temperature control cargo list, which follows the reefer during its entire journey, giving the exact stowage location and set temperature. In some cases, the ship's command may wish to inspect the reefer before loading. The container is then disconnected from the terminal supply and loaded onto the vessel as quickly as possible. The control doors must be fastened before loading. On board the vessel, the container is connected to the ship's power supply and switched on. The container's equipment is switched on and checked for correct function. This procedure must be done properly and checked as such. On some ships, a monitoring system is available, which is connected to the reefer. The temperature setting and the actual temperature reading is checked again with the temperature-controlled cargo list. On some ships, The chart is marked at the time of the container being connected to the ship's supply. The container check is repeated at least once a day during the entire sea voyage. All temperature readings are recorded in the vessel's temperature-controlled cargo logbook. The meticulous control procedure exercised ashore must also be followed on board. As the temperature chart is limited to 31 days, if the container's journey is longer than this, a new temperature chart must be filled in and fitted to the container. If any malfunction should occur during the sea voyage and repair on board is practical, this may be attempted. Just prior to discharge, the container is switched off and disconnected from the ship's power supply. The control doors are checked again. At this point, some companies take the chart off the container and fit a new one. Others may only do this just before the container leaves the import terminal on its journey to the importer. The used charts are then forwarded to the responsible agent. At the import reefer stack, the container is connected to the terminal's power supply and the machine is restarted. If the chart was not changed on board ship prior to discharge, it is changed now. The set temperature as well as the air temperatures are checked against the reefer cargo list. The seal numbers are also checked. The reefer temperature is checked at least twice a day by terminal inspectors during the reefer's stay at the import terminal. The temperatures are recorded in the terminal reefer list. Prior to delivery to the consignee, the temperature setting is verified again and the container is switched off and disconnected from the terminal power supply. On leaving the terminal, the procedures of checking and recording the condition of the container are repeated and the equipment interchange receipt is countersigned. The temperature-controlled container with its expensive cargo is on its way to the consignee. If the documentation which accompanied or preceded the container was correctly filled in at the start, correctly used during the journey, and if the temperature control procedures were carried out by everyone concerned along the route, the cargo should arrive at the consignee's premises in good condition. That is what the shipping company has undertaken to carry out when the booking office took the order. This trip was a success because the cargo arrived at the consignee in good condition. Unfortunately, things do go wrong sometimes, and the condition of the cargo is threatened. To deal with such emergencies, the companies have devised emergency procedures and communication chains. It is most important that everyone in the company is familiar with these procedures and applies them effectively if the need arises to safeguard the condition of the customer's cargo. Ten Commandments. 1. The instructions of the shipper must be carefully recorded and double-checked at the time of booking. 2. The set temperature must be clearly written and given in Celsius, indicating in words whether plus or minus. 3. A written confirmation should preferably be obtained of all the details of the shipper's instructions. 4. The correct notification and requirements of the order must be sent to the haulage company. 5. The required slot on board ship must be booked and the export terminal notified of the requirements of the shipment. 6. All the recommended temperature control measures must be strictly adhered to from shipper to consignee. 7. All the requisite documentation, including charts, must be filled in correctly, verified and countersigned by the responsible persons at each stage of the journey. 8. All information relevant to the safe transportation of the cargo must be entered on the temperature-controlled cargo list, which follows the container during its entire journey. 9. All legal requirements at each stage of the journey should be included in the instructions relating to the shipment and should be strictly adhered to. 10. If any unforeseen event occurs which threatens the condition of the customer's cargo in any way, the company's emergency procedure should be triggered to try to reduce the risk of damage, injury or insurance claim against the company. All of what you've seen represents a complex control process, and you may wish to view the video again to double-check on some points. If in doubt, seek further advice.